Hey y'all, it's your captain for all things creative, and we are here to talk about Married at First Sight, season 18, episodes 9 and 10, but mostly episode 10. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. Please like and subscribe. And if you're returning, thank you so much for rocking with us. Happy New Year, all of that. But these episodes got me tight, so I cannot be that happy while talking about them, but we just got to talk about especially Ikechi and Emem. So, let's get into episode 9 a little bit. Episode 9 was a little bit boring because it was a lot of same old things from like Michelle and David with him trying and her denying his efforts. Juan and Carla had also kind of the same lack of progress, except Carla's really suffering from it this episode. She basically cries in front of Juan, explains her childhood, and said, she was cut off from expressing herself in any other way except through anger. So she really worked hard to be loving and affectionate. And the fact that Juan is not letting her be affectionate is hurting her mental health too. Like you could tell Carla is just like almost a shell of herself in this episode. But Juan, I don't think is understanding the impact on her. At least he doesn't seem to receive it enough to want to change. So it was disheartening to see. And I guess Madison and I'm so sorry. All I could think in my head is the simp. They said it best in the after party. It's like he's like the guy that got the hot girl and don't know what to do with himself. And it's just the same old of him just being happy to be next to her and her paying him dust. But we're talking about episode 9 was Camille and Thomas and Ikechi and Emem. So Camille and Thomas consummate their marriage in episode 9, which was kind of cute because Thomas, is clearly into Camille, and Camille is earnestly giving him a chance, even though she said time and time again that, he's not her usual type. And what I didn't like was when she was trying to like fit him into the mold of her type by doing basically gangsta cosplay at the end of that episode where they reenacted the Pretty Woman scene almost. When Richard Gere buys Julia Roberts, the jewelry. She buys Thomas some hood jewelry, basically some earrings, and have him trying on big chains and stuff. And the hood cosplay just wasn't that cute to me. All the other scenes with them are cute. They had me smiling, but I didn't like that last scene because basically it was like a reduction of swag to like stereotypes about gangsta culture and like hip hop aesthetics, and it was not giving what it was intended to give, I think. But let's get into Ikechi and Emem because that man he ticked a lot of people off online so bad. Now I couldn't really talk about the episode during the holidays because I wanted to maintain my Christmas spirit. But now that it's Epiphany, Christmas is officially over. um, Akechi really, really did Emem dirty from episode 9. Like the insinuations that she violated his consent and all those things are really damaging, especially because Emem is a professional. It's really giving that he wanted to chop Emem down to size. He's really crossing a lot of lines that are very detrimental. Like, first was the aggressive comment, which it's like rule 101 for talking to and about black women. You don't call black women aggressive, especially professional go-getter types. And then him basically calling her, assaulter or an abuser is just a lot, especially because, like MM said, he initiated, putting her hand on his lap or whatever during the honeymoon. He was acting like he was all into her and gaslighting her and saying that, connection wasn't a problem, and telling the experts, when I saw her, I thought she bad. So he's giving her these mixed signals, but then really just pulling the rug out from under her in a very problematic way. Like he could have had the conversation with her privately, and say, hey, I'm not into you sexually, but he's turning it into this dramatic production. And he knew it was wrong to say because he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna say it. But the fact that he was alluding to it and distancing himself from her over it made it so that it was like a big elephant in the room. And the experts, asked if MM was okay with him revealing, the scenario of her violating his consent. And she was like, yeah, you could talk about it, because I think in her mind she didn't think it was that bad. At the end of the day, anybody should apply by the consent rules. You should not be touching anybody or doing anything to anybody without their consent, period. So that's why MM did apologize. But I think the way Akechi is coming after MM, it's not the protections that you would have in a marriage. This is not a stranger in the street. This is not, your coworker or boss. This is the person that you vowed to be there for and protect. And Akechi is not protecting Emem. Like I said, he's painting her out to be this predator. And the thing is, in marriage, there are definite cases where you can have marital rape and I guess I can't say that on YouTube, marital SA. But like I said, the way Akechi's handling it, it's really putting in a bad space. But she did apologize. She's trying to move forward, but I just wish she would have just gave up then, because it's a dangerous situation for her to be in as a professional. Like, he's basically ruining her good name. And like my culture says, good name is something that you have to protect, your reputation, your character. And Emem is not protected. She should have known that she was not safe since the aggressive comment. But now that he done said that, she violated him in that way, she needed to be away from him. So then episode 10, again, you got Madison and Alan, and he's just happy to be next to her. And she's still giving him fake hope. They do some kind of jungle ropes course exercise. I don't know what, they jumping on logs, whatever. He's trying to show Madison that, he could keep up with her physical, I don't know, weightlifting and just running around the place, energy. So he's trying to appease her, but again, Madison is just not into him. With Camille and Thomas, they do kind of like a little love and basketball anniversary. He was late to the little basketball setup that she did, but I just knew he was doing something for her, like throwing rose petals all over their apartment or something, because Thomas is very into Camille. He's very apologetic. She punishes him with suicides, basically like running back and forth on the basketball court. And he said he saw her vicious side from that punishment. But it clicked to me, actually, that with Camille, well, people were kind of roasting her on as being like boring or square herself. It's actually the discipline and structured side of her, I think, that they were picking up on, because she said she played basketball for 25 years. She was quoting her coach. So I saw like, she is more, I guess, structured from, I guess, her basketball life, which is maybe why people didn't pick up on her internal swag, I guess. But Thomas and Camille then have like a cute dinner date, and he gives her jewelry. And that was the reason why he was late, because the place that he had picked up the necklace from, I guess, was in the suburbs of Chicago. So it was very cute. And he said he picked red because she looked so good in red during their honeymoon. So it was adorable. And the last, I guess, thing that happened between them was them just being funny at the group dinner, which we'll talk about, because Camille was all leading into Thomas when Ikechi was acting a fool, but we'll get into that later. All right, so Michelle and David, They meet at a sushi restaurant, and she wore her wedding earrings to, commemorate the 1 month anniversary. But she really don't care about this marriage. It's very clear. Um, Her attitude has not changed from all these weeks of being negative towards David and the marriage. And from the moment she came in, she just like tore down his outfit. She was asking him if he considered his outfit a date outfit. And I felt like they matched. Like, I felt like her outfit wasn't that fancy. The earrings obviously were her wedding earrings, but they matched. Like, he was business casual basically. And she was like, he should at least put on a blazer and a tie. And I was like, for what? You're not gonna like him, so just leave him alone. And then she started complaining about the way that he spoke. And David was trying, but like his frustrations were coming to the surface. All I could think was, throw in the towel, please throw in the towel. After their horrible sushi dinner, they watched their wedding video, minus Michelle's crash out in the bathroom, and they both feel sad about like the hope that they kind of had in the beginning, and it all not working out. And then when it came to the group dinner, David had to work, so Michelle arrived alone. But then I guess David skipped out when he could during his break and joined the dinner for a little bit, which was very nice to him. Again, he's always putting in the effort. Now, I really want to get into Ikechi and Emem, but I guess I have to talk about Juan and Carla a little bit. Um, I guess Carla quit her job, so she thought that Juan didn't like her before. He really is not going to be happy about the unemployment thing, but I guess they have a picnic where she explains that she's offered some opportunity to work with somebody else if she was free. So I guess that's why she freed up her schedule to do that. And he seemed a little more relieved about that. But the two definitely give cousin vibes. And it was very late of him also to only just now figure out that she had been upset at him during the honeymoon. So there's that. Let's get into Catching Emma because that's the true like heart of this season and the story. So they have a little painting picnic, and I was very upset that Emma didn't give up because, like I said, it's basically dangerous for her to be around him because he done attacked her self-esteem, calling her aggressive, making her seem so out of character in his portrayal of her, and then again talking about how she violated his consent, all these things. So she really needs not to be alone with him, but she's giving him a chance. She gets charcuterie, and they paint, I guess, a night scene. And then when they go back to the apartment, they read their vows, and he don't get into an argument about the vows. It was so cringy. Like, this man finds every excuse to attack this woman, and he starts talking about he don't see nowhere in the vows how she would act like aggressive to him. And he basically says how he's a bear being hit over the head with her answer stick. I was like, answer stick, bear? What is going on? She said that, she didn't say in her vows that she'd be hitting the bear. And he just sounded like unhinged. And he was talking to her all amped up. And if I were her, I would have left. But instead, he, yelled at her, called her a-hole, all kind of thing. And left with his big old hiking bag. And she just cried. Because, again, he is not a safe person for her to be around. And then he didn't show up to the shared apartment for days after that argument, except to grab his shoes when he knew she was working. So I guess she only got to kind of maybe say a little hi to him, but they didn't get to hash out that whole blow up. And him being unhinged, calling himself a bear, calling her, hitting him with an answer stick and all them things. So when she met up with the group, she didn't really process things with him, so she was processing what she went through and unpacking it with the group. And so she spilled all the tea to them. She shared everything from their issues with him blocking her from touching him to him calling her an a-hole on the 1 month anniversary. And then Emem also copped to reaching out and touching Akechi. She was like, I did touch him. So he was not wrong, I guess, in a sense that she violated his physical boundary. But then she said that he set the tone for that by taking her hand and putting it in his lap. So that's why she thought it was okay to touch him. But again, you don't want things to be fuzzy with consent. In every situation, you should ask, hey, is it okay to touch you? Is it okay, for us to get down? Are we doing this? So she did provide more clarity on the situation there. And then she did wear him out a bit to the other couples by saying that, did y'all know that this was his second time applying to the show? And she's clear that he's just doing this for the TV and the clout and not there for her because of what he's putting her through. So she's clear about that now. So because Emem opened up the floodgates for everybody to be open, Camille tells everyone, that her and Tom have been knocking boots and they just came back from Pound Town. They left Pound Town. And then David showed up late. And then Ikechi showed up a little bit before him and acted like nothing happened, which put Emem on edge because he basically verbally abused her the last time they spoke. And then he got his clown shoes from the apartment like a thief in the night and curved her before she could let her feelings out before the dinner. So it's very tense. And then while smiling in everyone's face, he starts making passive aggressive comments towards Emem while acting like she's not there and not addressing her directly, which was rude. Like, even David went and hugged everybody when he came in, and Akechi didn't even acknowledge Emem, which was also passive aggressive. It's like, he does all these things that he doesn't see. Maybe when he looks back at it, he'll see how rude he is and how he makes Emem feel. But in his head, he's putting on a show about how he's, there for the other couples, and he's, sitting there being rude and saying that he's celebrating the other couples and him and Emem have nothing to celebrate because there's no peace in his home. And then he starts projecting by saying that Emem was the one making him feel like nothing in his home. And Alan asked him if he doesn't think that what he's saying is insulting because all of them are watching him in 4K, again, be passive aggressive and ignoring his wife and being rude to her. And I even had to step back and be like, sir, were you not calling yourself a bear and biting this girl's head off the last time y'all spoke just for asking questions? So what he's feeling is probably his guilty conscience. Again, he's not the most self-aware person, it seems. And it's probably his guilty conscience pricking at him, but he's just, again, on a warpath against Emem. So right now he's doing his best to put on his face like he's there to have a good time with the other couples at the dinner, but FMM, but he don't see how that's rude. So then he basically again wrote this book of poems, whatever, has never read her one poem or given her any kind words really since the honeymoon. So I'm with Madison when Madison called Ikechi a con man, in her interview at the dinner. And then David was the most successful at trying to make peace and basically was telling everyone, all right, let's, not question him, because Alan was ready to get into Ikechi's butt because Alan has sense and he's a gentleman. But David was like, let them talk behind closed doors because clearly they need to talk. Because I think David also was upset with how Ikechi was acting, but he's like, nah, I can't even do this right now. We shouldn't do this right now. So then Juan tried to push fake positivity in a scene which turned Emem all the way off. And Emem lost it. And then Carla rightfully ushered her to the bathroom with the other girls to let her release her feelings more safely because talking to Ikechi is like talking to a brick wall. But Ikechi seemed very pleased with himself for seeing Emem break down while he kept acting like the victim. And I think he felt like he won because she broke down first and he appeared to be cool. But everybody saw that he was on BS. And then when she finally said a little bit of her piece after being so patient in front of them all these weeks, he really hammed it up in front of the guys to play victim, talking about, see how she acts? This is why I didn't want to talk about it, which made me real.
Mommy, what? Now do a silly clown dance for us. Oh. Yeah, degrade myself, huh? I don't think so. Homie, don't play that.
Okay, so just when you didn't think Ikechi could get worse, he is again acting like he's here to celebrate everybody, acting like he's here just for pure positive vibes. But again, he's ignoring Emem. He knows she just got upset, just ran to the bathroom. And he knows that the last time they had a full conversation, he done bit her head off and called her the person with the answer stick poking the bear, all these things, call her a-hole. So when she comes back after being visibly upset, does he ask if she is okay or if she wants to step outside to talk? Of course not. That'd be too much like right. So what he does is decide to make it his moment now, in spite of insisting that it's about celebrating everybody else and being positive, right? He can't help himself. So he gonna really be the drama king. And as soon as Emem comes next to him again and sits down next to him, doesn't say anything's not negative, he then gets up and decides that it's his time to leave so that he could show his rejection of her in front of everybody else. And again, Madison rightfully clocks that he's a con artist in her dinner interview, because this was just not empathetic at all. Again, he's not a husband trying to protect his wife in the least. So then in the hall, when the producers tried to talk him back to dinner, it's like, you don't think you want to talk to her a little bit? He starts slandering her again, being rude, and he says, you think I want to sit next to that? He didn't say her. He said, you think I want to sit next to that? And I was done. Just dehumanized her. So rude and doesn't care about her feelings at all. And then he really forgot the cameras have been there the whole time when he starts going off in front of the producers for the drama and making his case about why Emem is the worst and why he's the best. He then lies on Emem being aggressive from since the wedding day. And he says that she put her tongue down his throat on the wedding day when he told her to chill with the sex stuff from then. But he forgot that he put her hand in his lap, you know, from since the honeymoon times, and was lying about feeling her in the beginning, telling Pastor Cal that, yeah, when I saw her walk down the hall, I thought, damn, she bad. You know, he forgot about his acting debut at the beginning of the season when he was acting like he was into her. So now we see how he really felt about Emem from Jump Street, basically saying that he never was into her. And even their kiss at the altar was her just shoving her tongue down his throat, which is not what I saw at all. So he just forgot all his lies and acting at this point, and now he's full on slander Emem mode. And for the first time, I also agreed with Michelle, because she had asked him earlier in dinner, why did Ikechi even come? And that's how I felt when he was going off like that. Like, you should not have come. You weren't here on nothing positive, like you said. You're completely rude and disrespectful. You saw this lady was upset and in pain. You didn't try to comfort her or make it right. You don't even see her as a human. You call her that. So I can't really catch you. Like, he really, really tore his draws. And I think Camille was very correct when she was saying that. You know, Ikechi is someone who portrays himself as this woke black man. And he literally just called Emem aggressive, called her a that, called her an a-hole. So he really is going to look like a clown. And not just any clown, but Homie D Clown from In Living Color, if y'all remember that show. Homie D Clown was probably the most belligerent clown on TV, and he was kind of woke, but the way he was assaulting the children, it's like, you talk about being free from the bad, but you're like hitting innocent children on the head. When you signed up to be their children's entertainment, and when they asked Homie to do with children's entertainment things, he would especially want to bop them on the head. And Ikechi is just like that. He been attacking Emem when she was nudging him to do the husband things that he signed up to do. when he applied for the show twice. So even simple things like asking questions would make it catchy, just lose it on him. And he's been trying to knock her down to size. Probably since he saw her apartment. He's the one that's threatened by her. And I think he was on a mission to make her and her accomplishments and good energy not be received well by the audience. That's why he was doing all these dramatic things, especially in front of the other couples, so that she could look like the bad guy. And to be fair, the process is not easy, and I think he was trying to avoid the villain edit at all costs. But again, it's like the Bible says, those who try to save their life will lose it, but those who lose their life and just be real, authentic, that's how you save it. And I think in his desperate effort to not get the villain edit, because he's very aware of the cameras, he was trying his best to paint Emem as the villain, and it just didn't go off as planned, because Emem literally would just ask him a question, and he tried to use every window, every question, every gesture towards him as a way to paint her in a negative light. And homie don't play that, but the cameras don't play that, Ikechi. So you really played yourself in the end. So you see Ikechi, after trying to paint Emem like this horrible person again, he goes to the apartment, packs his things, and then he starts really telling on his mental state when he says in his interview that he can't be around a person, this is a quote, who thinks that he is smaller than her or feels like he is an ish. And all that is projection, because that's how he was making Emem feel the whole time while she was bending over backwards trying to appease him. So again, the way Emem treated him was with nothing but respect. She was being meek and mild for weeks, letting him speak to her aggressively and put her down. But in the end, he's trying to paint it like she's the one that didn't see him as anything, and that she saw him as beneath her when she was trying so desperately the whole time. And his own story doesn't match, because it's like she was desperately reaching out to try to get affection from you, which you said was violating your consent. So how is she squashing you down, making, herself, feel like she was above you, when she was literally groveling at your feet for affection and attention and love, to the point where you said she's doing too much? So again, his own lies aren't adding up. He finally rolled his little suitcase up out of that shared apartment and moved out, and I'm so glad he put Emem out of her misery. Hopefully she moves on. I hope she's the one that swaps. I hope she go around there over to Alan's house, because Alan had her back. Shout out to Alan for standing 10 toes down. In the preview, it looked like he gonna get gully with somebody. I saw him take off his jackets, and I don't know, the way Juan was talking, maybe it seems like Carla and Alan are the ones that, slide into each other's DMs. If it's not Carla and Alan, it might just be Emem and Alan. I feel like he gonna comfort her. There's a scene on the beach where he's hugging her and all that. That didn't happen after the dinner. I was thinking that Alan was gonna comfort Emem like that after dinner, but this is them meeting up separately. So I think Alan is the man that's doing the swap. It's either with Carla or Emem. That's my final answer. It's clear that David is also messaging people. I think he's dating, but the fact that Michelle got that text means nothing to me. I don't care if David cheats, because right now everyone can see that Michelle don't want nothing to do with him. He's expressed his frustration. They're in the apartment trying not to get the fine, and he don't have to live in his parents' basement no more. So whatever David do, he gets a pass. I don't even consider it cheating. If the big scandal is David with somebody like Madison, that's not gonna be a scandal, because they've already been, working out, whatever. But I don't see David wanting to slip up that bad since Michelle been on him like that. So I think the swap couple is gonna be Alan and somebody else. But we shall see. Say your opinions in the comments. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, you're the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. Bye.